Welcome to HFYGALAXY Tales, ***, the signal in the darkened the black silence beyond the last known stars. A signal began to pulse. It was faint, slow, and steady, like the heartbeat of something huge. No one knew where it came from. No one wanted to find out. But Captain Lena Voss was not like most people. She had hunted the biggest predators in the galaxy, sky serpents of Varnes, ice leviathans of Tauren, even shadow beasts from the moons of Kryn. Still, when the Galactic Hunters Guild called her into their secure briefing room, she knew this mission was different. A single image flickered on the dark screen. It showed a long, silver thread stretching through the stars. The thread seemed to glow faintly and move. The guild officer spoke in a low voice. "Captain, we believe this is part of the web of the star spider." The name made the room feel colder. Lena had heard the stories, a creature so large it could spin traps between planets. Ships, caught in its web, were never seen again. The officer played the signal recording. A deep, slow beat filled the room. Thump, pause, thump, pause. It was hypnotic, almost pulling her forward. This signal came from beyond the mapped edge of space. The officer continued. "Many hunters have gone after the star spider. None have returned." He leaned closer. "The guild wants proof, a confirmed sighting, maybe even a trophy." Lena didn't smile. Predators hunted for food, for territory, for instinct, but a predator that could weave between stars, that was something else entirely. Her ship, the Valkyrie, was built for speed and strength. She would need both before departure. She reviewed the crew roster. Small, but skilled. Kai Ren, weapons master, quick to fight and quicker to shoot. Dr. Eris Fenn, xenobiologist with an obsession for alien hunters. And Zara, a silent tracker whose past encounters with unknown creatures had left her with a scar that ran from her jaw to her collarbone. They launched into the void. Engines, cutting through the darkness. The further they went, the more the stars seemed to fade. After 3 days, the star map began to show blank space ahead. No planets, no asteroids. Only darkness. Then, the signal returned. Louder now. It filled the ship, echoing in the walls. Zara looked up from her station, her voice low. "It's close." Kai scanned the area but found nothing. Dr. Eris stared at the long-range sensors, his face pale. "There," he whispered, pointing. At first, Lena saw only black. Then, movement, a shadow, vast and slow, with legs that stretched across the void. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. The signal pulsed again, deep and steady. Lena tightened her grip on the controls. The hunt had begun. Asterisk's crew of the Hunt the Val cut through the emptiness, its engines a low hum against the silent dark. Inside, the crew gathered in the common room, a faint blue light casting long shadows across their faces. Kai Ren sat with his boots up, cleaning a pulse rifle with fast, practiced hands. He had the look of someone who trusted weapons more than people. "Star spider or not," he said, "if it bleeds, I can kill it." Lena didn't reply. She had hunted enough to know some things out there didn't bleed. Dr. Eris Fenn scrolled through alien biology files on a holoscreen. His eyes moved quickly, his lips whispering small notes to himself. He had studied predators on 100 worlds, but this will be unlike any lifeform we've ever seen, he murmured. The web itself might be part of its body. Zara sat apart from the others, her face hidden in the hood of her black coat. Her fingers moved slowly over the scar at her neck. She hadn't spoken much since launch, when Kai tried to joke with her. She finally said, "I've been in a web before." The room went quiet. She didn't explain, and no one asked. The ship's systems beeped softly, a proximity alert. They weren't near any planets or stations. Lena checked the radar, but nothing appeared. Then the gravity flickered for 1 second. Loose tools floated into the air before dropping back to the table. "Malfunction?" Kai asked, but Eris shook his head. "Something passed close to us." Very close. Lena adjusted their course toward the coordinates of the signal. Every few hours, the pulse grew louder. At times, it felt like it was coming from inside the ship. They began to see small flashes outside, thin silver lines that vanished when the lights hit them. On the 3rd night, Zara appeared at Lena's cabin door. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were not. "It's marking us," she said. Lena frowned. "What do you mean?" Zara's hand opened to reveal a single silver thread lying across her palm. It shimmered faintly. "I found it in the air filter," she said. Lena took the thread, but it dissolved into nothing between her fingers. Back in the common room, Kai loaded extra ammo into his belt. Eris checked his equipment, muttering about the nervous system of spiders. The tension between them grew. They weren't just going after a creature, the creature was already aware of them. From the front console, a new alarm began to beep. Zara's voice came through the comm, low and certain. It's here. Asterisk threads in the black. The Valkyries slowed as the radar picked up something vast ahead. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a ship. It was a single line straight, bright, and stretching farther than their sensors could measure. Lena brought the ship closer. The line shimmered faintly, silver against the dark. It was thick, thicker than the Valkyries itself, and it pulsed slowly, like it was breathing. Dr. Aris stared at the readings. This isn't just a structure. He whispered, it's alive. Kai leaned over the console. It's a web strand, he said. Biggest I've ever seen. Lena knew he was right. It didn't just look like silk, it felt like silk, even through the hull. She could sense it. Something about it made the back of her neck prickle. Zara stepped forward, her voice low. This is only one thread. There will be more. Her eyes followed the strand until it disappeared into the darkness. No one could see the end of it. Lena ordered a slow pass. The Valkyries moved alongside the strand, and the lights of the ship reflected off its surface. The strand was not smooth. Tiny ripples moved along it. They looked almost like messages traveling through a nerve. Let's see how it reacts, Kai said. He powered up a pulse cannon and fired a short burst at the silk. The blast hit, and the web vibrated not like something breaking, but like something answering. The vibrations spread outward, faster than light, vanishing into the distance. Then, the ship's lights dimmed. Lena checked the controls, but all systems were fine. Outside, new lines began to appear. Thinner strands, glowing faintly, stretching toward them. They moved slowly at first. Then, faster. Eris shouted, it's connecting to us. Kai fired again, burning 2 of the threads before they reached the hull, but more were coming, from above, from below, from behind. Zara's voice cut through the comm. This is how. It hunts, it doesn't chase, it builds around you. The crew worked fast, blasting strands and pushing the engines to full power. The ship shook as more threads brushed against it. Every time one touched, a low hum filled the air, deep, slow, like the signal. Lena realized it wasn't random. The sound was the spider's heartbeat. Finally, the Valkyries broke free of the growing web, but the strand they had first seen still floated ahead, unmoving, silent. As they passed it, Zara whispered, it knows we're here now. Into the hunting ground, the Valkyries pushed forward, leaving the massive strand behind. But the deeper they went, the stranger the space became. The stars outside looked warped, like their light was being stretched by invisible hands. Kai checked the navigation, frowning. We're still on course, but space itself feels wrong. Ahead, more web strands appeared. Not just 1 or 2 hundreds. They connected drifting asteroids, broken ships, and even small moons. The strands glowed faintly, like veins under skin. Some were as thick as mountains, others so fine they were almost invisible. Lena slowed the ship. They passed under a giant loop of silk. Inside it, a derelict freighter floated, wrapped completely in web. Its hull was sealed under layers of silver threads. No light, no movement. Eris scanned it, his face pale. No life signs. Nothing at all. Zara's voice was cold. They don't die right away, she said. The others looked at her, but she didn't explain. Her eyes stayed locked on the cocooned ship as they drifted past. Further in, they saw more wrecks. A fighter squadron tangled together in a single massive strand. A mining station split in half and held in place like a flying glue. The webs didn't just trap, they preserved. Everything was kept exactly where it had been caught. The signal grew stronger. It wasn't faint anymore, it thumped through the walls, through their bones. Kai muttered, feels like it's inside my head. Eris didn't answer. He was staring at the largest structure they had seen yet, a central hub of silk the size of a city. Every strand they'd passed seemed to lead there. Then the gravity flickered again. Loose equipment floated, then dropped. From the side viewport, Lena caught a glimpse of movement. Something huge crawled across one of the thicker strands, moving, slow but steady. She only saw the legs long, jointed, each the size of a starship. Kai gripped his rifle tighter. If that's what I think it is. Lena cut him off. Keep weapons ready, but don't fire unless I say. The webs began to shift. Not drifting, not swaying, but moving, tightening, drawing everything closer to the hub. The Valkyries was being funneled inward. Zara's voice was flat, almost emotionless. This is the hunting ground. Lena adjusted the engines. But the web around them kept pulling. No matter which way they turned, the strands were always there. Finally, the hub loomed ahead, glowing faintly in the dark. And Lena knew whatever was waiting there had already seen them. The first strike, the Valkyries drifted into the shadow of the central web hub. The glow from the strands cast a pale light across the crew's faces. Every sound in the ship felt too loud, the hum of the engines, the clicks of weapons being loaded. Even their breathing. Kai stood at the weapons station, his finger resting near the trigger. "This thing wants a fight," he muttered. Lena kept her eyes on the forward screen. "No, this thing wants a meal," she said quietly. Then, the signal changed. It was no longer a steady heartbeat, it sped up, faster and heavier. Zara looked up sharply. "It's moving," she said. From the darkness above, something dropped. Not all at once, but in slow, careful motions. 8 legs unfolded from the shadows, each one so long it vanished into the distance. The Valkyries' lights caught a glimpse of the body, black as deep space, with silver markings that shimmered like stars. Then it was gone. The spider had vanished back into the dark. The ship rocked violently. An impact slammed into the hull from the side. The crew grabbed whatever they could as the Valkyries spun. Kai swore and fired blind into the darkness. The shots lit up the web for a brief second, but nothing was there. Another hit, this time from above. The ship's shields flared, alarms screaming. Eris clung to the console, scanning desperately. "It's not on sensors. It's moving between them." The spider struck again, this time dragging one leg across the hull. The sound was like claws tearing through metal. Kai aimed and fired at the source of the noise. This time, he hit something, the web itself. The blast burned through a few strands, and for a moment, the pressure on the ship eased, but it was short-lived. Thin threads began to wrap around the Valkyries, pulling tight. Zara grabbed a blade and cut one that had slipped through a small breach in the hull. The thread recoiled like it was alive, snapping away into the dark. The spider didn't press the attack. It moved away, its massive legs curling back into the shadows. The web around the ship loosened slightly. Lena's eyes narrowed. "It's not trying to kill us yet," she said. Kai frowned. "Then what's it doing?" Zara's answer came in a whisper. "It's playing." The crew stood in silence. Somewhere out there in the dark, the star spider was waiting, watching. Lair of the star spider, the Valkyries pushed deeper into the web's core. The strands around them were thicker here, glowing faintly like veins carrying light. Every vibration in the silk made the hull tremble. It felt less like they were flying through space, and more like they were inside a living creature. Lena kept the engines low. Too much noise might bring the spider out again, but part of her knew it was already aware of them. It had been aware since the first thread touched their ship. The central hub grew larger on the forward screen. It was shaped like a massive sphere of silk, layers upon layers wrapped so tightly it looked solid. Small objects floated around it. Broken ships, drifting debris, even entire satellites, all caught in the threads. Unmoving, Kai scanned the sphere and frowned. "I'm picking up heat inside," he said. Arisa's face tightened. "That's because something is alive in there." They circled slowly, searching for an opening. One section of the sphere pulsed brighter than the rest. Zara's voice was low. "That's the nest," she said. Lena glanced at her. "You've seen something like this before." Zara didn't answer. Her eyes stayed fixed on the pulsing light. Lena decided to move closer. As they approached, the faint shapes inside became clearer. Dozens, maybe hundreds of smaller forms were curled within the silk. They weren't moving. Eris leaned forward. "They're spiderlings," he whispered. "If they hatch." His voice trailed off. The ship's sensors began to distort. Numbers jumped and scrambled on the screens. Kai hit the panel in frustration. "It's jamming us," he said. Before Lena could respond, the silk in front of them began to shift. Slowly, the threads peeled back. From the darkness within, 2 enormous eyes opened. They glowed faintly, like distant suns. The star spider stepped forward. Its legs moved without sound, each one gripping the web with perfect control. It stopped only meters from the Valkyries, its gaze fixed on the crew inside. The heartbeat signal returned, louder than ever. Lena's chest felt heavy with each pulse. It was more than a sound, it was inside her head. She could feel the spider's thoughts pressing against her own. Not words, but intent. The message was clear. "You do not belong here." Then, one of the spider's legs reached out, not to strike, but to gently touch the ship. The hull vibrated under its weight. Lena realized with a cold certainty it was testing them, deciding what to do next. The final snare. The star spider's leg rested on the Valkyries' hull. The metal groaned under the weight. Inside, no one moved, even Kai's finger froze. Above the trigger, Lena's eyes never left the creature's glowing gaze. Every instinct told her to run, but she knew there was no escape without a fight. The spider could tear them apart before they even turned the ship. The creature's other legs shifted slowly, not to attack, but to close around them like a cage. Thin threads began to drift from its body. They floated toward the Valkyris, glowing. Faintly, Zara's voice was barely a whisper. "It's wrapping us." "Not yet," Lena said, her voice steady but cold. She signaled to Kai. He moved to the weapons station, preparing their last trap, an experimental high-energy pulse device. Eris worked quickly, connecting it to the ship's power core. The device could burn through the web, but it would also overload the ship's systems. If they used it, they might not survive the blast. The spider pressed its face closer to the viewport. Its eyes were so large, Lena could see her own reflection in them. The heartbeat signal grew louder. She could feel it inside her mind, pulling at her thoughts. For a brief moment, she saw flashes of other ships, other crews, all caught, all gone. And she understood the star spider was not hunting for food, it was hunting for control. The web tightened around the ship. Lena made her decision. "Do it," she ordered. Kai slammed his hand down on the trigger. A blinding wave of energy burst from the Valkyris. The web around them lit up like fire, the strands snapping and curling away. The spider recoiled, its massive legs pulling back. A deep, rumbling screech echoed through the void. The blast threw the Valkyris backward, systems sparking and lights flickering. Alarms screamed, the smell of burning metal filling the air. But the web near them was gone. They had a path out. Lena forced the engines to life. The ship tore away from the hub, pushing through the wreckage and drifting silk. Behind them, the star spider hung in the shadows. Its legs spread wide, its glowing eyes locked on their ship. As the distance grew, the signal began to fade, but just before it vanished completely, Lena heard something new, a single, faint thread of sound in her mind. A whisper, deep and slow. "The hunt is not over." Back in her cabin, hours later, Lena sat alone. She looked down at her wrist. A thin silver strand was wrapped around it. It pulsed once, faintly, like a heartbeat.